Good morning. This video is about the synchronization between web and mobile systems in a completely seamless manner. It achieves an always-on functionality using couchdb technology along with the mobile systems, and the goal of this exercise is to make the users feel as if they are always online, so the mobile users don't have to worry about whether they are online or offline before they start doing any operations. It does all the operations completely seamlessly, and we'll be able to demonstrate some of those features in this quick demo. The standard agenda for this is we're going to define what the problem statements is and what are all the current challenges that happen in a standard environment, and we are going to demonstrate the solution in two modes. One is an online mode where both the web and the mobile systems are online, and an offline mode where the mobile is offline and they are able to do all their operations, and when they come back online they are able to get all of the systems onto the online system and everybody else is able to see it. And finally we actually wrap up with the technology stack that helps us do this wonderful piece of technology. So let's look at the problem statement. Every application nowadays needs to be mobile enabled, and when we say mobile enabled, they are not just providing a switch or a little bit, like 5% of what the web is doing is not what's happening on the mobiles. Mobiles are completely full-fledged applications, and they work as good as the web systems. So in the current world where the mobile systems are much more than the PC based systems, there is a need to make all of these like phones, like both Android and iPhones, do as much as possible as the web based systems. And when we get on to providing a lot more functionality on the phones, we need to make sure that they are completely synchronized with the online system, because if somebody is using the mobile, they should be able to get the data back to the online system, and the other way. So when somebody makes a change on the online system, they should immediately be able to get it on the mobile systems without them doing a manual synchronization or anything like that. With this comes a complete challenge of what happens if the mobile is in an area where there is less signal strength, or if you're in a tunnel, or if you're in a basement of a house where there is not much of a strength. The user is not really going to think about all these things, and the system should make them feel that it is the same whether they are online or offline. The standard problems that happen when you use a traditional API based approach, like a REST API that is exposed by the web system and the mobiles are able to consume them, is that because of the lack of signals, the phones have to manually detect online offline, and this actually takes a lot of battery power, because you've got to constantly keep looking out for when the signal is online and when the signal is offline, and you've got to manually synchronize the records, and it leads to a lot of customer support calls, because most of the times the customers are going to come and say that I did this but it's not coming onto my complete online system, and you have got to tell them, like, okay, there's a button that you have to click on to synchronize it, and it leads to a lot of confusion with the users. And also, because the signals are quite not as strong in some areas, in like some parts of the world, you would have records that are being sent in duplicate, because the phones might have sent a REST API call, but the acknowledgement might not have completely done. So it might have done a complete handshake with the web-based system, but the record could have gone to the web, but then when the web sends back an acknowledgement, the signal could have been lost, and the phone thinks that it did not actually send the data to the web, and it will try to resend it again. So this leads to records being sent in duplicates, which might cause a lot of issues if you're doing like banking related work, for example. And the other thing is also that the things that are happening on the web may not be reached on the mobile, because the same problem happens, like the mobiles trying to receive the signal, but then there is a signal that gets disconnected in between and you're not able to receive it. This all leads to bad user experience and frustration. The solution that we are trying to do will actually try to tackle all of these problems. So let's look at what the solution is that we are doing now. So I'm just going to give you what we are trying to show now. So this is a simple example of three different entities where there's a customer, there's an engineer, and a calendar that is working with the engineer. So a customer is someone who calls a company and complains about something that's happening on their house, and is requesting the company to send some engineers to fix them. The engineers are the employees of company that are working to resolve the customer's issues, and a diary is how the company books a job for the engineer so they could go to a customer's house to solve their problems. So typically a customer Smith who calls a company, which is in this case I'm assuming it's a plumbing company, so they go to Best Plumbers, who actually books an event for the engineer at a diary. The engineer who is operating on a mobile system, who's in some place, looks at the appointment, make sure that he's able to go there, and then he just attends the problem. We're just going to look at how the solution pans in both an online system and an offline system. So what I'm going to demonstrate right now is a fully online system where a customer record is created on the web, and the customer calls to book a job. So we create a diary event for this one, and the engineer will be actually be able to show an Android system, and I've got a system by which I can show you the screen on the presentation, and you'll be able to see the event immediately on the phone as soon as it's created on the web. And this is a completely online solution. So both the engineer has got a very strong Wi-Fi signal and the office has got a very good Wi-Fi signal. So we will be able to see things like when you create a customer, it will be immediately available on the mobile. When you create a diary event, it will be immediately available on the mobile. And when the engineer does something, it will immediately be available on the web as well. So let's actually go to the system. This is the system that we'll be working with, and it's basically a system where you have customers and diary. It's a bigger CRM system. So I'm going to show you a phone system as well. So let me show you an Android based system, and this is a calendar of the engineer. So because we are both online, I mean, like, I'm completely online in this, so I've got a very good Wi-Fi signal. And the web is also online. So let me try to create a customer here. Let me create a customer, James Hunt, .com, and he's living in New York. And let me just add a customer. So this basically creates a customer on the web, standard stuff. And if I go to the mobile and try to search for the customer, just to make sure that I can look for him, just going to type Hunt, search for him, and it actually gives me James Hunt, and that's the details that is coming up from the web. So there I have James Hunt, and I know that I've got a contact from him, and so on and so forth. So now let's assume that James Hunt calls the best plumbing company and asks them to fix one of the problems in his house. So the plumbing company basically goes and books a job for him, and let's say I'm the engineer Jason, and he's going to book a job for me on the 7th of April from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So I'm also going to show the diary of the engineer, which is this is the diary of the engineer, and this is on a daily basis. And then I don't have any events that are assigned to him. So it's like it's about. Let me just show it in the same way. So it's like aligned at 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and I'm going to create an event from between 10 to 12. So let's say book an event between 10 to 12. I'm going to create a job for him. So I do one thing for Hunt, and this is the engineer, and let's say I'm going to do a boiler service for him. Please fix. Yep. So now when I create this event, I'm going to show the mobile, and the mobile would immediately be able to get that event and show that in the screen. So when I actually go and see the diary event for this person, so just to continue from before, we did create an event for James Hunt on the 1st of April from between 10 to 12, signed for Jason Majaria. So let me go to the calendar and go to the 1st of April. So let me go to the week view and would probably, sorry, let me do the month view, and then select the 1st, and the 1st has got boiler service, which basically tells me that this is James Hunt and we did a job event and so on and so forth. So this is how we are actually able to see them things directly. So let me show something even actually nicer. So let me change the day. So let me go back to the month view and select the 1st of April, which is 1. So let me try to move the event now so that you can see the thing immediately change on the diary. So let me change it from 10 to 12 to 1 to 3. So I'm just going to move it from 10 to 12 to 1 to 3, and on my diary I would see that immediately get changed. I didn't do anything. There was no synchronization that happened, but it just like automatically moved this event from 1 to 3. So that's one of the beautiful things that happens in the system, where you don't have to do anything, but the system would just automatically do things for you. Now let's do it the other way. So now I'm James Hunt, and I'm the engineer. I'm the engineer, and I want to do a job at James Hunt's house. And now I'm going to like accept this event, because I as an engineer is going to say that I am going to go to his house and fix something. So as you can see now, you have a system where it doesn't tell you any status, because this is an event that's just been assigned to an engineer. So when I do an accept, which means I'm just going to accept it, it is saying that do you want to have GPS, and said I don't want to have GPS. So I'm just going to accept it, and when I just accept it, the thing just appeared. So he's basically given a thumbs up saying that he's actually accepting the event. No changes at all again. So now I'm going to travel to that engineer's house, to James Hunt's house, and I'm going to click on travel. And when I click on travel, it immediately changes the signal back to travel. So this is the kind of seamlessness that we are looking about. So now we are both online, so it's not as big a challenge as when we would go offline and be able to see it, but you can see that the changes are happening as seamless as it happened. So so there was no synchronization. We didn't have to refresh the screen or anything like that. As and when there was something that happened on the mobile, it immediately reflects on the web system. And once I click on arrive, I've basically said that he's actually arrived, and I'm able to do a job report. So now I'm the engineer, I'm at James Hunt's house, and I'm doing something, and I'm going to fill in the job report and then finish the job. So this is the way by which you can actually have a seamless integration between a web and mobile systems, completely without any kind of synchronization. Now this was very easy because we had the systems both online, and this covered the use case that we were talking about here, where you are actually showing a fully online case and both of them are able to see things immediately. Now let's get to the more difficult cases where you're offline. The engineer has completely no signal on his phone when he's at the customer, and he's going to record the customer details. So he goes to a new customer's house, he's going to record the customer details on the phone, and he has no signal. So he's going to create a customer, he's going to create a note about the customer, also in offline mode. He creates a diary event for them about some kind of an estimate that the customer is wanting, and then he gets a signal, and then he gets online, and every information that he's trying to create, like the customer, the information about the customer, the estimate that he's trying to create, and the diary event that he created, are all going to come to the web when he becomes online. So let's actually show this one. So for this purpose, I'm actually going to turn my phone signal to like offline. So I'm going to turn off wireless, and I'm going to turn my mobile data off as well. So just to prove that I don't have any signal, I'm just going to go to a website and just maybe do some website. So you're completely offline. So I don't have any signal right now, and I'm going to show you the case where you are completely offline and then you become online and you'll be able to see it. So now I'm going to create a customer. So let me create a customer, and let's say this is a customer. I don't have an address, and he lives in Boston. So now I have a customer who's there, and as you can see, there's no account number because right now we are completely offline, and I don't know what account number. Account number is the primary key for this customer, which I don't have right now. I'm going to create a note for him, saying that I'm just going to add a note for him that says good customer, pays on time. Work. Okay, something like that. Right. So now I have a customer that I have, and then I'm going to create a diary event for him. So let's say I'm going to create an estimate for him on the 7th, which is today, between 9 to 10, and I'm going to search him, and I've got that address which I just selected, and I'm just going to do a general works, and that's it. So now when I go to the event, so let me look at the month view, April 7th, which is today. I have General Works at Raja Venkat's house, who's in Boston, and at 7 o'clock. At this time, you can see that none of this is available online. So I'm going to prove that by going to the web and search for my customers list. So when I look for my customers list, I don't have any customers. This is like sorted in the order of the one that got created. So if I search for Anja, I don't have any particular customer. So now I'm going to show the case where you become online and all of the data basically synchronizes over to the web. So let me go get a Wi-Fi signal. Okay, I've got a Wi-Fi signal now, and that should synchronize everything over at this point. So now if I go to my diary, I should actually see event on the 7th. So I created an event on the 7th, which is for him, and then that was the event that got created. And if you can look at it, it even created a customer. So this was a customer that we created, and this was an estimate that got created, and there must have been a notes that got created as well. So good customer pays on time, please do the work immediately. And as you can see, we were completely offline, and then when we switched to online, everything came through as if we were completely online. I didn't have to do any kind of operation like doing a manual refresh or a manual synchronization. Everything was handled behind the scenes. And that shows one of the key features of having an offline based solution, because we don't want the users to know whether they are online or offline. The system should automatically be able to detect it and be able to transfer all the records when they come back online. Now let me just show you the technology stack that we built. So the web system is completely not relevant to this discussion, but just for the examples here, the web was built with Symfony and with MySQL as a backend, and it's a completely AngularJS based solution. And we have more than 150 entities in this complete system. So we have customers, we have estimates, we have jobs, we have invoices, we have suppliers, we have reporting that covers all of these things, and everything works on this complete offline based solution. So you can do any of these things as if you were online or offline. System doesn't really care about it, and then it just works. The magic behind all of this is basically Apache couchdb and Couchbase Lite. So we use couchdb as a NoSQL solution, and we use couchdb 1.6.1. We're not 2.8 to 2.08, we're still on 1.6.1, and we use couchdb as the backing solution for all of our mobile solutions, and we use Couchbase Lite for both Android and iOS. And Couchbase Lite is the one that actually makes all this magic work. So Couchbase Lite basically is able to interact with the CouchDB system, and we have written a bridge that will basically connect between CouchDB to MySQL. So the web system unfortunately was not written using CouchDB, it actually writes to MySQL. So we have a bridge of systems that actually act between the two systems to send data from MySQL to NoSQL, CouchDB in this case, and also from CouchDB to MySQL when it happens. So in the case that the mobiles are actually trying to do some operation, let's say when they're offline, everything gets stored onto the mobile, and when you come online, Couchbase Lite basically writes all of those records to CouchDB, and we have a listener that listens to CouchDB, takes all those records, makes a web service call on their behalf, sends it to the web system, and the web is able to see all of them as if it actually worked. As I said, this is actually working for all of our entities, and it was one of the most fun projects that I've ever worked. So this is a very interesting solution, and we will be able to do offline or a completely always available online system for any kind of solution that the customers might need. Thank you for your time.